Hi, hello. Welcome to another episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is July 21st, 2023. Hopefully, this episode finds you well, in good spirits, and high hopes. As for me, I'm doing pretty good. Feeling good. It's Friday. Happy Friday to you. Hopefully you're having a good one. If you're not listening to this on a Friday, that's a-okay. Hopefully your day is spectacular. Let's see. We're at the end of the week. I'm actually really stoked for the weekend. A typical person, I guess, but it's nice when you just have some things queued up, and it's like, yeah, that just feels good. It feels nice. I'm definitely that kind of friend, kind of person. I feel way more comfortable when my plans are set up in advance. You know what I mean? Even if it's 2 or 3 days. But truthfully, the way my anxiety built up, I like a week. I love a week. I love a homie that says, "Hey, are you free this day?" Like, boom. Well, you know what? Looks at calendar. I am, because I don't have anything better to do with my life. Like, I'm always free, really, but usually I do plan things out. So, like, when people hit me up, like, spur of the moment, it's like, oopsie. Or I am doing nothing, but it's just like, I just get so, like, it's a seismic shift when someone says on the day, like, "Hey, you want to hang out?" Like, I don't know. It just usually is. There are very few people that can just hit me up, and I'm just like, oh, I'm just stopping time and space, and I'm gonna make this happen. But hey, I'm an old dog. Okay, what can I say? What can I say? Oof, oof. Do I have anything else though to really talk about? No, there's no food. Sadly, there's just no food. Only craving, only hunger and desire. But hey, I'm learning to love that part of it, I guess. Not really, but accept that it is what it is. I hope that it bears some kind of fruit, but I also remind myself of, like, I didn't get into working out, even though, like, my workouts are not heavy duty. They're very light, poor form, terrible shit, calisthenic dumb shit. But I didn't stick to it because I was like, oh, I'm gonna lose so much weight. Like, oh man, I'm gonna be like so svelte after doing all these sit-ups. Like, no, that wasn't my machination. My true feeling was like, I'm so depressed. I'm so sad. I need to just, like, get energy out. Like, I need to do something about this. And yeah, I mean, here I am. Now I've been doing this now for like 3+ years, something like that. It's 2019. Yeah, maybe that's 4. Fuck. I've been doing it for a while now, and it's simple, easy stuff. And I just go back to that kind of as my, like, terra firma. Like, look, I never would have thought I would have been a person who works out every day, but look at me now. So I can now kind of look at the food stuff and be like, yeah, sure, I'm a treat guy, I'm a candy monger, but I can not eat these sour worms. I can, cut back on the beer. I can, do X, Y, Z. I can do it. I can do it. So I try to remind myself of that. Yeah, that's it. That's all I wanted to say on the personal side. Let's go ahead and ring a ding ding, if you know what I mean. Oh, that didn't make the sound I wanted. Oh well. And then we'll get into some news. Yeah. Oh yeah. All right. Our first article is from Axios. Nebraska teen receives 90 days in jail for burning fetus after abortion. Now, when I initially read this, I was like, oh, this is, like, annoyingly provocative. It's giving propaganda, sweetie. Because I believe we talked about this before. I know it's a fucking thing I say a lot. I'm sorry, but I feel like I just have to say it because I have, like, but essentially, I was like, oh, I just don't like it, but it is true to what happened. Like, at the end of the day, this teenager, she didn't get sentenced for having an abortion in Nebraska, which is, now legal in a post Roe v. Wade world, but they were more or less dinging her in this plea agreement for how she handled everything, in the post. Essentially, burning the body, hiding it, yada, yada, yada. Now, granted, at the same time, they're still punishing her for having an abortion. But to me, there's no other way to look at this, because her and her mother did what they had to do here because of this new law change. If this wasn't in place, they would have merely had an abortion. You know what I mean? Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. And, we go on about our lives. But because of this, because we, are like, those bundles of cells, they matter. Now here we are. We have to go to these, like, draconian, medieval-ass fucking style tactics to live as close to a normal life as we can. And for that, she's going to jail for 90 days. That to me, I'm not looking at it as like, well, this is what the law says, and she did what she did. Like, fuck that. Fuck you. If you feel that way, I'm sorry. I just disagree here. But, a Nebraska judge sentenced a 19-year-old woman to 90 days in jail and 2 years of probation Thursday for burning and burying a fetus she allegedly aborted with the help of her mother, per multiple reports. Now, also, her sentencing is still a thing, so that hasn't dropped yet. I imagine we will probably do an update then. But as part of Burgess's agreement, which is Celeste Burgess, sorry, the two other charges against her, concealing the death of another person and false reporting, were dropped. She was also not charged under Nebraska's abortion law. So, I mean, essentially, they put the screws to her on this shit. They wanted to make an example of her, and they did. And I mentioned her mother, Jessica Burgess. She also pleaded guilty. So, I mean, this is just a sign of what's to come. I would not be surprised if I'm going to be doing more stories like this in the future. And, best believe I'm going to, because this shit is important. Like, I'm not off it. I'm never going to be like, until we get to a state that's just, until we get to a state that's better, I can't. Like, I don't know. It really bugs me that these people in power can make these laws, and you can have people on the side, like the religious side, conservative side, whatever. They're going to say, like, this is the right thing. We need to do more. We need to keep fighting. And it's like, for what? To put women in this situation? To put families in this situation? I don't get it. I'm never going to get it. So, yeah, I'm always going to be oppositional to this. I'm always going to talk about this podcast. I'm sorry. Sorry. Not really. All right. Moving along, though. That being said, I still like Axios. That title, that bothered me. But Axios, how they bullet point that, that is like picture form. Like, I love that. It makes it so much easier on my brain. So, Axios is up there. Still love you, Axios. From NPR. Las Vegas police investigating Tupac Shakur's 1996 murder have searched a Nevada home. So yeah, it's Tupac. That's big news. I definitely want to get into it. Kind of got bogged down with some other things, but I'm like, hey, it's Friday. It's time to talk about it, baby. Las Vegas police executed a search warrant related to the fatal drive-by shooting of Tupac Shakur. The latest turn in decades of investigations into the rapper's mythic and unsolved death. Shakur was one of the most popular artists in the world at the time of his death at 25. His legacy only grew after he was shot while driving on the Las Vegas Strip in September of 1996, and has served as a subject of dozens of books, films, podcasts, documentaries, and television shows. Fun fact, which I love to mention because I'm weird, he actually officially died on my 6th birthday. So yeah, little tie there. But yeah, Tupac, he got into an incident with Orlando Baby Lane Anderson at the MGM Grand. I believe there was like a big fight. I think it might have been Tyson, if I'm not mistaken. I'm fuzzing on this shit. But I have seen like the video, and essentially there's an altercation. I believe it kind of at the lobby or whatever. And it's Tupac's group. I believe like Lane might be with some other people too. But essentially Lane gets his ass stomped out. And it's alleged that more or less in retaliation, he just gunned down Tupac while he was riding in an SUV with Suge Knight, another notorious character. Now, granted, I mean, this has spiraled into a bunch of conspiracy theories because it has never been solved. Kind of, at least by the streets, though, that's kind of the narrative, that it was Anderson. There might have been some, obviously, accomplices, other people in the car, but, cops haven't, investigators, they haven't really did anything. They, I'm sure this is kind of common knowledge. If you've listened to a podcast, seen the shit, just use your brain. You kind of know why. This is a black hip hop artist. This is a black rapper. They saw this shit. This is a person also who has had run-ins with the cops, who is quote unquote oppositional to the cops. So, at the end of the day, for them, they're just like, whatever, fine. Like, we're not that interested in digging our hooks into this. But I believe there's like kind of been newer things that's kind of surfaced. There's like, I think like a film, and it kind of put a little bit more of a light on it. But according to the Associated Press, public records link the home that was hit in search warrant. Kind of getting back to the article here. Link the home search to the wife of Dwayne Keefe D. Davis, the uncle of Orlando Anderson. So it's kind of related that, like, oh, okay, maybe they're trying to get some more evidence, more ties. Because once again, there might be more accomplices, associates who are involved, and maybe, hey, we can kind of say, hey, we did our job. So that'd be cute, fucking 30 years, they finally actually put their ass to work. Because at the end of the day, they said, oh, no one's speaking up. There's no one talking, no one wants to snitch. But the news of the search was a surprise to those tracking the investigations, such as Shanti Elijah Honey, who authored the book An American Family, The Secures, and The Nation They Created. Trying to think, where was I trying to get to here? Nope, I think that was actually where it was at. They talk about kind of more of his run-ins with the cops or whatever, but I think there were just kind of more things that were unearthed, aka there was just more attention on the situation, and I think the cops are kind of like, oh, okay, I guess we could just get on it, and, here we are. So, I mean, if there's any more updates, I would definitely love to get on them, because obviously, I'm a Tupac fan, for sure. I will say, though, just, kind of digressing, kind of talking about some other shit while we, segue along here. It was hard. Actually, it was a funny moment growing up. I was in middle school, and my English teacher, he asked me a question because I had a Tupac shirt on. And he, I was turning in a paper to him, and he, like, stopped me real quick. He's like, Isaiah, all right, I gotta ask, Tupac or Biggie? And it was like, I was like, oh, shit. And I was like, well, damn. And I wanted to do a long answer, but I was like, I think I have to say Biggie. I said Biggie first. And I said, well, here's why. Because at the end of the day, like, Tupac was, like, more of a poet. And, like, that's really cool and all. But, like, I just like Biggie. It was, like, party. It was fun. And I think I still feel that way. Maybe for different reasons or so, but like at the end of the day, I love Pac for just being what he was, just being so lyrical, being so of the moment, of the era. Like, there's just so much you could say about him. There's just so much glowing reviews. But the thing I hated the most is that he took that arc, and I see a lot of artists take that arc in hip hop, where it's like, oh, I'm gonna become the bad guy. I'm gonna be like the bad guy. Like, it's same thing with like Eazy-E, where you're just like, oh, like I'm gonna embody this. I'm gonna be of the streets since I'm talking about the streets. And it's like, cool, man, but at the end of the day, you're not that guy. You're an artist. Like, you like went to an art school and shit, and that's cool. Like, you don't have to be this way, is what I'm saying. And I just think at the end of the day, Pac knew it sold. And I think it was a part of him. I'm not trying to sit there and say that he was faking or fronting here. At the end of the day, it's just like, you didn't have to do this. You didn't have to be of this. Like, the situation with Anderson never had to happen. You could have just been there, been a cool dude, had a good time, moved on to the next thing. But, like, Pac was so of that life. And I just remember watching docs, like, especially of the beef. And I just remember seeing, like, how he would handle the beef. And how, like, Biggie wanted to handle the beef. And how, like, the shit was just never linking up and never really lining up. Besides, like, an alleged meeting they had, like, kind of one time behind the scenes or whatever. But, like, that shit always bummed me out. And I just feel like so many people adopt the Tupac model in hip-hop. And it's always, like, a bummer to see that. Because it's like, look, dude, I love the hard shit. I love that gangsta ass shit. But like, I'm so glad I got to be of an era where like the backpack rapper was a thing, because it's like that's just way more of what I wanted to hear and see out of hip hop. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not trying to hear Sugar Hill Gang, but like I definitely want to hear like Kick Push. I don't know. I'm in the weeds here. Hell of a tangent. I'm sorry, but you know, this came to my mind. I wanted to squeak to that. All right, another doozy, another good news story that I gotta flip. I gotta flip and maybe reverse it? Question mark. All right, so this is like another Farias situation almost. If you know, you know. But from CNN, police say they cannot verify most of the information Carly Russell, who went missing in Alabama after a 911 call about a child on an interstate, gave to detectives. And there's also a follow-up here. Carly Russell sent several bizarre tweets before disappearing from the Independent. So, like, I told you guys the story of Carly Russell. Essentially, she is a nursing school student. And, you know, as I, reported it, as I saw, she was missing for 48 hours after essentially a story as she told it, that she saw a baby in a t-shirt and a diaper on the interstate. She pulls over, she calls 911, she tells them what's going on. She then calls one of her friends, and she proceeds to go up to the baby, and all you hear on the phone is her screaming, and apparently she's gone. Police get there on the scene, they see a wig, car still running. Okay, so she's gone. But 49 hours later, she walks back home and is knocking on the family door. So I'm telling y'all good news, right? Like, she's back. We found someone. That isn't a good news. That is a W. Shit. We even had a tangent about white women syndrome. Shit, man. Like, this was a great talking point. This was important. This is important as shit, and it still is. But like, it is becoming a Swiss cheese story. I don't know how else to like say it. Like, there's holes here. Like, at this point, I kind of just want to go on riff mode here. But essentially, like, the boyfriend said, hey, like, look, we believe she was kidnapped. I believe, according to her, it was some white redhead man with like a bald spot, tied her up. Well, no, they didn't tie her up. Actually, they blindfolded her, and but they didn't tie her. I believe she had said that it was because they didn't want to leave any marks or anything like that. But in a moment where she was put in the back seat or something like that, she escapes, runs into the woods, and then gets home. That's her story. And she's been recovering. They asked for, what is it? Privacy, while, she, de-stresses from this trauma. Okay, that's valid. But they even say, like, hey, the cops even say, like, we didn't find any evidence of a baby. And of course, I'm playing devil's advocate here, shit. Like, well, maybe the baby was a ploy, you know what I mean? I'm already thinking like that, Of course you're not going to find a baby. But, there's no evidence of a missing baby. Like, maybe this is the thing. We don't know. But it's just not adding up here. It feels very suspicious now. So, yeah, I mean, I don't think Russell has come up with any more statements. She hasn't come out with any more information, anything like that. I imagine the investigation into the situation is still ongoing, but there is more I want to get into. After police found Carly Russell's cell phone Thursday, they looked for information on it and discovered web searches that included, do you have to pay for an Amber Alert? And how to take money from a register without being caught. And it's like, what? Like, why is that there? And then also, there is a search about the movie Taken. And it's like, wait, why? Like, what? Like, and it's the same kind of thing as, like, we've covered stories before about a guy who's like, how to get away with murdering my fucking wife. Like, you type that into your Google search, and now, yes, they are looking at your Google search, brother. Like, you're getting toasted here. Like, this is not smart. And to have these kind of situations, like, for Russell, it just does not look good. This is not lining up to, like, oh, this feels like a true, authentic story. Getting to the second article, the tweets are weird, and especially because they take place, I believe, like 30 minutes or so, maybe less, before, like, you're calling about this abduction. and then getting abducted, or calling about this baby and then getting abducted. So it's a lot. This is thick. I feel like I gotta get like a cork board or something, above my pay grade. But let's see here. On the day she went missing on the 13th of July, she tweeted at 8:55, "Today was a great day. God be looking out. I'm telling you." 1 minute later, Miss Russell wrote, "Someone to tell you I love you and don't got a reason." Finally, she tweeted, "Yeah, I want a family now." And at 9:19 p.m., just moments later, around 9:30, she called 911. So that's when that kind of takes place. And there's also some more here. She had a tweet that I feel like, I'm not going to say, oh, this is damning, but it was just like, this is very like, ooh, I feel like if I was a TikToker, I would be like getting ready and I'd be talking about it. I'd be like saying, this is something. A tweet on the July 10th adds color to this complicated picture and indicates potential problems in her relationship. Miss Russell wrote, "I always say one thing I won't do is stay with someone who cheated on me. Like you went and had sex with someone else and think it'll be sweet one day? Hell no." And then days earlier also tweeted, "Everyone wants to feel wanted." So, I mean, it's one of those things where, like I said, man, people are going to do the thing where they connect the dots. The police are doing the thing where they're trying to connect the dots. And I'm not saying that she's making it up. I still don't want to say that. I'm still trying to sit here and listen, okay? I'm sitting my ass down and I am just listening, okay? But a lot of people are chirping and things are just not lining up. And I will definitely keep you updated on whatever I hear and learn. Let's see, we got one more thing to go. I know I'm running long. I'm sorry. I got one more story. It's food related. I'm not. It's kind of good newsy. I don't know. We'll see. Let's get into it. But that's still not a bell. Like terrible notification sound. Also, if you hear the lawnmower, I'm sorry. Ooh. Oh. Fun fact, never mowed a lawn. So there you go. Little tidbit. You just learned that from me. All right. ABC News. Jury awards Florida. Excuse me. Jury awards Florida girl burned by McDonald's McChicken. McChicken. Jury awards Florida girl burned by McDonald's Chicken McNugget $800,000 in damages. Whew. Okay. I once again believe this is an update. I'm pretty sure we did some coverage on this before. But a South Florida jury awarded $800,000 in damages to a little girl who received second-degree burns when a hot chicken McNugget fell on her leg as her mother pulled away from the drive-thru of a McDonald's restaurant. Now, this was the family of Olivia Caraballo. She was 4 years old when this happened in 2019. As they were coming out of the drive-thru, I guess a chicken nugget fell out and it fell between her thigh and I think the car seat or something, and it just burned her. And the burn looks gnarly. I finally actually got to see a picture of it. It was like, oh wow. So the jury's verdict form allotted $400,000 in damages for the past 4 years and another $400,000 for the future from the McDonald's USA and its franchise operator, Upchurch Foods. Now I believe Olivia wants to use the money for surgery because she says she calls the scar nugget and she just really wants to get surgery to kind of get rid of it. And I get that. You're a kid. something like that. Like, you don't want to get teased for that. You already have so many eyes on you, especially now that it's gone through like some kind of legal process. Like, you just want to get past this. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, you know, it's good that she's gonna get the money to do that. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure I've said this before. I can understand because I remember they cover it again in this article when you had the lady who spilled coffee on herself, and you think to yourself like, oh, this is so minor, like she should have known better. You ordered a hot product and you expect to not get burned. Like, if anything, I would be happy to get hot food. Also, let's see if I can find the quote. It's kind of up top. I kind of skipped it, but the lawyers for the McDonald's argued that the child's discomfort ended when the wound healed, which they said took about 3 weeks. They contended that the girl's mother is the one who has the problems with the scar, and told jurors that $156,000, $156,000 should cover damages, both past and future. She's still going to McDonald's. She's still asked to go to McDonald's. She's still driving through the drive-thru with her mom, getting chicken nuggets. And that was the defense attorney, Jennifer Miller. Fucking tomato, you ass motherfucker. No, dude, like, sorry, we still want to go to McDonald's even though we were scalded to, like, maimed. Like, come, like, this makes me so mad. That, like, whew, okay. I understand. I used to think that, what was it, Louis Black, you know, comedian, you know, he became like a talking head or whatever on like The Daily Show. I used to think he was so out of pocket for like doing his frothing at the mouth bits, but now I get it because like you hear moments like this, and these are real people, and they are really trying to like skeeve this girl out of money. Like, it's on McDonald's. They shouldn't be selling chicken nuggets at this temperature. Like, yes, going back to the whole thing of like, it's hot food. Don't you just want hot food? Like, there's no you see that kind of burn damage. I said burn damage. Like, this is a goddamn D&D thing. Like, bro, like, that's crazy. Like, no, that's not okay. They should fucking pay. That's it. That's how I feel about it. That's all I have to say about it. I don't know. Like, I want to drop the mic, but it's got to stand. But no, that really is all I think I got for today. I know I kind of dragged on here. I'm sorry. Actually, not too bad. Okay. Okay. Shill mode. Patreon.com. So Isaiah News. Boom, boom, boom. We're back, baby. If you'd like to support the effort, you become a newsie. I shout you out on the podcast, and also plug a project you're doing, or, you know, whatever. I say a birthday, I'll do whatever you want. Also, IsaiahNews1@gmail.com. Feel free to hit me up on any of the socials as well. Let's see here. Also, send me news. I love talking about news. That's my favorite thing. I miss that. I miss you guys hitting me up, talking about like blah 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 thing. Yes, please. Is there anything else? Oh yeah, the YouTube. Please subscribe to the YouTube. If I get to like 1,000 subscribers, that's the moon I'm trying to shoot over. Okay, I'm trying to get that. Then I get monetized on that motherfucker. Okay, I would love that. That's a dream. That's a little baby dream for me. Okay, so please subscribe to the YouTube. Hit the thumbs up. Give me all the stars. I want 5 stars. I'm now no longer asking. And leave a comment. Yeah, do that. Ooh, okay, that's all I got. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for being a friend. And hopefully I see you soon for some more good news. I love ya. Bye-bye. Mwah.